Distance education is basically a system where we provide an education process and a teaching learning process to students who may not physically be here on campus.
We're the experts in this area, and we're here to offer a flexible learning experience that fits around your commitments.
Charles Sturt University are the largest provider of distance education in Australia.
We've got a good track record in offering distance education, and with that track record comes an infrastructure for distance education.
The students can study by distance through our programs and still get a recognised qualification that's going to take them forward in their career, whatever their location.
Distance education is study when and where you want to study.
All over the world, people are discovering the flexibility of distance education.
The benefit by studying distance education is the possibility to connect your studies with the actual work.
Wherever you are, you can schedule your studies to suit your lifestyle.
I was able to stay at home, I was able to study on my own time when it suited me, and really important to me, I didn't have to travel at night, I didn't have to head down the highway in the winter.
CSU offers hundreds of courses and specialisations by distance education.
The course structure was very much to what I wanted. It catered my needs, and it had a specialisation whereby you could choose a pathology specialisation, which is what I wanted.
Distance education means you're not required to be on campus.
Because it is in Australia, we don't have so much time differences, and CSU didn't ask me to attend physically to their classes. I can complete my course just being here.
Many CSU distance education courses are recognised by professional associations.
And when I was researching my field of study, it was actually the name of academics at Charles Sturt that came up most often. Then Charles Sturt was recommended by the British Psychological Society and a few people I spoke to in other Australian Psychological Society membership.
In the workplace, a lot of people choose CSU because of our reputation.
22,000 distance education students that allows Charles Sturt to build the infrastructure as they have to give fantastic support.
The interaction is mostly based on an internet forum and on telephone context or video chats.
Some of the courses there was quite a significant amount of interaction, other ones less so. However, I always found that if you needed to have the interaction, they were always available. I did actually use phone a little bit, and certainly fax machines were wonderful for scanning samples and sending information that way.
I wanted a bit of a sense of community, and my supervisors connected me with other people at Charles Sturt that were studying in the same program, even people here in Canada studying in the same program. So we've all used technology to have discussions and stay in contact. Everyone's excited and enthused to be involved. I'm doing a PhD in psychology, and yet I've met people in social work and policing studies that are just very keen to be involved and very supportive.
We're contactable by email, and generally people are able to respond to students within 24 hours, so there's always a quick turnaround. And of course we can always talk to people over the telephone as well.
That is through the forums, because when you post out something to the forum, on the forum, for instance, if you're having a difficulty or you don't understand something about a subject, when you post it out, you would get a reply instantly from someone from somewhere. So it's valuable in that sense, because you get to learn new things from new people.
Through CSU, I had two types of resources particularly available beyond the support of the instructors. First of all, there was course materials, which I found were easy to manage, easy to find my way through. And secondly, of course, there were the library resources, and they were quite spectacular. I got very engaged in exploring what was available electronically, and indeed I found an awful lot of articles that went beyond the scope of the courses because they were of interest to me, and I could sort of just keep exploring and exploring. It was so much better than going to a university library where you have to wander the stacks and search. It was just very efficient, and so that was a real bonus and a plus.
it's just on your fingertips, whereby you just need to log on to your My CSU page and you could get every single information that you want, which I think makes it very easy for all of us.
Because we've been delivering subjects in distance mode for a long time, we've got every single subject has a really solid package of materials that are sent out to students. Some of those are printed materials. In other subjects it's a combination of print plus CD-ROM plus online support.
Charles Sturt University courses allow you to do a combination of distance education and on-campus study in Australia. But flexibility goes far beyond when and where you study.
Charles Sturt does not ask you to commit to a course from the start. You can start by just taking one subject. Try it out. If that subject works for you, you can sign on a course and that subject can be transferred into the course.
Students can work through flexibly alongside their existing work commitments to upgrade their qualifications or perhaps even make a significant career change.
The Australian school year runs differently than the Canadian one, so I never found myself having peak times that were conflicting.
Working and studying at the same time is not something easy. You have to plan your time, make sure your priorities are right and everything is very well arranged so that you could divide time for studies and divide time for your social life.
It's important to set up some fixed times where you're able to focus on your studies, especially in the very beginning of it.
CSU made it quite easy to stay on track and to not get behind even though it was through distance ed. First of all, assignments were carefully laid out and you knew exactly where you were headed. Secondly, there were outlines suggesting, this is week 1, this is week 2, this is a way you should perhaps consider approaching it. So you had some choice, you were treated as an adult to make your own decisions, but at the same time there were suggested study schedules which did help.
Before the semester starts, you get an email from the management side and tells you how to manage your time and how much of effort you're supposed to put in the subject and how do you divide the time. And preparation before exams, what do you do, and assignments, how do you prepare to submit your assignments, how do you manage time? Yes, they do help in many ways.
It's also a good idea to connect your studies with your working projects so that your studies will be a direct benefit to your work.
And my supervisor supported me in finding a project that met my professional needs. It wasn't just something that was of interest, but it was also something that I could use in the job that I had at that time. And indeed, the results of my project influenced some policy changes within the department in which I worked with my school board. So that was very exciting.
It's got to be a whole package, whole experience, and I think Charles Sturt is CSU is a very good university for that because I think everybody understands distance education.
They have a lot of experience with distance education, so it's not just a little extra piece on the side. So they have a really good sense of how students need to be supported and be flexible in the fact that different people's needs change over the year.
You gain your experience of working, and at the same time you gain your degree, and by the time you have your degree, you have enough experience to probably get a better post when you're working.
You need to love learning, and you need to be open-minded. It just takes a challenge.
With distance education, top-level qualifications are at your fingertips. Charles Sturt University.